pledge, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please. Peter Somerville, Town Councilman.
Brendan Hawken, Town Councilman.
John Dolce, Town Supervisor.
Phil Ryan, Town Attorney. Randy Bates, Town Councilman.
Brian Wood, Town Councilman.
Victoria Baker, Town Clerk.
Okay, audience comments. Rebecca.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Patel from the Hamlet of Rensselaerville. So I emailed Randy and John this morning. Vicky received a notice of a grant opportunity yesterday from Albany County for park improvements, municipally owned parks throughout Albany County. The applications are due March 24th, so it's a pretty quick turnaround time. I was thinking that the Rensselaerville Playgrounds tennis court might be an eligible project for the program, but I don't want to assume that the Rensselaerville Park is the only park that has potential projects. So I just don't know if it's okay to proceed with looking into it and applying. That's great, but I want some feedback from the board that there's.
You meant May 24th, right?
Oh yeah, sorry. What did I say?
March. But I just wanted to make sure, and you're the only person that's asked, so in my opinion, since you asked, we should support that. And I would, my
Well-
opinion.
Maybe some of the other people have emailed. I don't know.
So I looked back today at the three parks and, two tennis courts and a basketball court in the visit. And the tennis court in Rensselaerville is by far most needed
Okay.
attention.
Huh.
The other courts are in good condition, relatively good condition. So I would think that it would be prudent to apply for that bid.
Okay.
And my blessing.
Okay. So just to be completely transparent, so it's a $19,000 maximum ask. Obviously, it could cover it's going to cost more than that, most likely to replace it or whatever, in whatever form that may be. So if the town might be willing to, you don't have to commit to this now, but we might request a match and maybe we can look at like some other sources of funding for helping to make the total.
Being this is, such a short notice, we were supposed to be able to get quotes.
Yes.
And I do have some.
Okay. Yeah, they only released it May 3rd.
Right,
Vicky received it yesterday from the town clerk of Westerlo.
so, I believe the first thing is to apply for it
And then see.
and then we'll figure it out.
All right, great. So I'll go ahead with that and I will be in touch for somebody will have to sign
Did you
it since it's the town's.
Yeah, I make a motion that we authorize the supervisor to sign a letter of support and the grant application for the Rensselaerville Park.
I second that. All in favor? Okay.
Okay, thanks. We'll see what happens.
Okay,
Thank you.
thanks.
Thank you.
Any other audience comments? If not, let's move on to the minutes of April 25th for the regular meeting. Everybody get a chance to review these minutes?
I did.
I
I move we accept the minutes from the April 25th regular meeting.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That motion is carried. There is one budget modification. Pat Smith was a highway employee who resigned. And he's entitled to $6,853.11 from his accrued time off. Can you explain?
Yeah, so we're gonna transfer money from the accrual savings, which is the account set up for that purpose to cover his time off. The idea was that hopefully we could hire somebody right away. We didn't have have a blank, we weren't paying out two employees at the same time. However, that has not been the problem at the moment, so.
But the 6853, Jason, is
Vacation time.
Vacation time, comp time,
Personal.
I'm sick.
and sick as well, I believe. That's a Carolyn question.
Yeah, not personal.
Not personal.
He used it
Yeah,
all.
our sick time?
Yeah.
I don't, Carolyn would have to answer that.
Mhm.
Remember that,
it's not in the contract.
sure.
Mhm. Yeah.
Sick time better.
Oh, yeah. I gotta get-
I can't.
Maybe it's loaded if I might get my sick time. I'll make a motion that we,
Wait,
transfer.
let me just read the transfers. Transfer from accrual savings DA 05302 into accrual payout DA 5110-17221, $6,853.11. Do we vote on this, or, or do we just sign it?
We just have to do a roll, we don't have to do a roll call, just.
A resolution approving the transfer. Oh, you just did it. Did you do it? Did you make the motion?
Well, I was
No, I
going to,
interrupted.
but he interrupted me. I'll make a motion that, we authorize the transfer from the accrual savings to the accrual payout.
Second?
John Dolce is an aye.
Pete Somerville.
Aye.
Aye.
Ed Van Woken,
Aye.
and signatures are on.
Randy,
Aye.
Ryan,
Okay.
But we just have to do a all in favor on that one.
so,
Okay. That's all right. We like to do that once in a while.
Okay. I'll make a motion to pay all signed vouchers and bills.
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Correspondence. There's only one on the new business that we'll get to. Reports. Library. None.
We haven't had a library report for quite some time, have we?
That's correct.
Just an observation.
Supervisor's report. I have a few things that I want to just mention. I met with Patrick Gilmore. He's on Fisherman Lane, where we're trying to get him to sign the easement for the sewer. I met with him, I left him all the information, the maps, and he was gonna contact Bill Ryan.
no contact.
No contact. So I will, they're very nice people. They didn't have a problem. As a matter of fact, Ed, thanks for cleaning up around. They did have an issue with debris around the shed that houses the sewer equipment. And we cleaned that up, which he was happy about. So, because I did check up with him a week later to see if he had any questions. And he was just, if he had questions, he was gonna speak to the attorney, which he didn't. So I will follow up next week. We had a 2-hour Zoom meeting with the water district and Albany County, the high hazard mitigation plan. So, we discussed different things to discuss, filled out a questionnaire, and that was the first step, so we're continuing that. good news is, that the post office is gonna stay in Rensselaerville for the next 15 years. So that's, an accomplishment.
In its present spot?
So
That's good.
that is good.
I didn't know what the problem was. Why were they leaving?
The problem was that the post office doesn't negotiate the lease. They have a third party that negotiates the lease. This third party tried to strong arm the Q-Haulers. And the Q-Haulers just refused it. So the post office sent out letters looking for different properties to put in the post office. I spoke to the post office guy, not this third party, and said that they're being ridiculous. You know, how much is it gonna cost to build the post office? And
So it's resolved.
it's resolved. That's bottom line is it's resolved.
Cool.
The first quarter sales tax check, we received $206,578, which is like $5,300 more than last year. Two things, one is the meeting room cameras. I would like to move forward with the meeting room camera. Did you guys see, the camera, that owl thing? That was the last meeting, that was televised. It's about $1,300. And it'll be much better quality, much better sound, and it's something I believe that will help keep the people involved. Before, we had a lot of issues with people not hearing us and the quality of seeing it. And, so anyway, I don't have a formal quote, but I'll get that, but I just wanted to bring it up. And who's gonna do it is our IT guys.
The total cost is somewhere around what you said.
He said $1,095
That's just for the bird.
for the camera.
The owl.
Can they
No,
mount
it's
it in
an
the
owl.
ceiling or no?
No. The reason why we don't wanna do that, because then we'd have to get external microphones. But it seemed to work. We could always add more. The most expensive proposal was $5,200. And I wasn't good with that. I'm good with the 1,100 or 1,300. So Carolyn, basically, they just put the owl there. The camera turns to whoever's speaking.
Correct.
And it's good quality.
Yeah,
Our IT guy doesn't charge us more money to do the owl, or?
No, because it's,
it'll be done from here. They're just gonna get it for us and support it if there's a problem.
Yeah. Just a device you can plug into the laptop.
It's IPS.
yeah.
Okay.
So I'll get an official quote, but I want to,
Are you gonna get an official quote and then we're gonna make a motion to do it?
unless you want to just,
Make a motion to do it, because why get a quote if we're gonna do it anyways? Let's just get it.
just because I don't have the exact amount. He said $1,095.
But we can make a motion.
So how about if we all agree that if it's over $1,500, then we'll talk about it. I don't know, like,
Okay.
it seems silly to have you get a quote and then come back and delay it longer. If we can get it before the next meeting, we're good, and then let's do it. I'll make a motion that we get the owl.
Is that consistent with the procurement policy?
Yes.
Yes.
Then I would do what Brian suggested.
So you make a motion that we,
We purchased the owl.
I'll second it.
Not to exceed
Not to exceed
$1,500.
I'll second that.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
That motion is carried also. Thank you. This, the last thing that I wanna bring up is I spoke to Sustainable Growth. Jared and Mary. I had sent them a possible grant application from New York State to help us with the unsafe buildings. They're proposing, to help us through this, it's, $1,200 total, between the research, the reports, the action plan, and the fund. No, so, wait, I'm not sure if, I'm not ready for this yet. We're not ready for this. Yeah, you should.
You guys have a $3,600 one next year.
Okay, I'll get you a copy of it. Because for the grants, there's prerequisites that are necessary. And we're not gonna do it, so just keep that in mind. And I'm not ready to move forward, that was just part of my report that I wanted to bring up.
So what am I getting for $1,200? They're gonna do it all?
Yeah,
I think at some point we have to approach we pay if we win. Like, you get a percentage or whatever, like, there has to be something. Like, I feel like we've spent some money in the water sewer district, I know they did some work there on some of that. I just feel like we keep giving money for grant stuff and then we don't get the grant, so what did we accomplish? We spent money and didn't.
Maybe I missed something, but what have we actually got from Sustainable Growth?
so,
Well, that, with the exception of the work that they did for the water sewer. Correct. Tell me if I'm talking out of turn. They did a bunch of work for you, like records and files and stuff like that, so that's different than like, but applying for grants, like we've done a grant already and got turned down.
so Pete, let me answer that question. The water district has many, many, many files that are spread out all over.
Yeah, they consolidated.
They consolidated and put it on a drive, so, like, I had to find the map, nobody had the map of this easement. They had the map for the easement. After it took the whole office here hours and hours looking for it. I don't remember how much that was, Ed, was it $2,400?
No, $6,000.
No,
It's almost $5,800.
Well, there might have been multiple projects that they worked on,
but
but that particular
But I'm
project.
just saying that, the records management, which eventually we wanna move forward with town clerk records.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that, but it seems like I signed off on numerous Sustainable Growth bills.
But there weren't enough for grants.
None was
Yeah.
for grants.
Right.
One was for water and one was for sewer.
Okay.
Is there anything?
I know what you're saying, Brian. That's the way a lot of grant writers operate.
I get you the grant, you get a percentage.
They get paid if they win.
So I'll get, Vicky, can we get copies of this thing? After the meeting? Okay, so that concludes my report.
Make a motion, we accept the supervisor's report.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. The accountant is not here and there is no report. The town attorney, Bill.
I have nothing to report.
Okay.
Highway.
So speaking of getting paid if you win, we received the Albany County Soil and Water Grant of $40,000.
Wow.
So that was good news for the highway department. We will get an official letter here next week, but we did receive that grant.
What will you do with that thing?
So that was for drainage project on Hale Road as well as the culvert pipe on Torrentor Lane and some stream bank lighting on South Street.
Okay.
New York State budget is finalized. Town of Rensselaerville is due to receive $425,181.50 worth of reimbursement money from the CHIPS program this year, so that's a good thing. With what we've rolled over from last year, some of the funds we didn't utilize, we have the ability to utilize up to $515,000 of funding, so that's a real good number. We still have an open position, received very little interest, so word of mouth. If anybody knows anybody who's looking for a job and has a CDL, please come see me. We've been out working on many of the dirt roads, Cooley Road, Bryan Road, Littner Road, have all been ditched and graded with material added. We'll be working over on, Wood Road, we'll be working on Bryan Road next week. And then we're gonna work our way over towards Bonner Hollow. We changed several cross pipes, also started to make some repairs to some of the roads that we'll be paving this year, including a section of Travis Hill Road that was coming apart, where we installed some drainage yesterday, as a matter of fact. We'll continue preparing our roads for pavement and grading dirt roads as the weather permits. All roads have been swept. The sweeping process is done, so it's been completed. The transfer station continues to run as normal. I have not received all the load tickets from Collins, so the next meeting you'll have a report on the actual numbers. So that concludes my report.
Motion to accept the highway superintendent report.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Thank you, Jason. Town clerk?
Town clerk for April, as always, everybody has their numbers. The only thing I really have to report is that the tax package has been finalized. Everything has been sent to Albany County, all the unpaid taxes, as well as all documentation and the reports that are required. That went out shortly after our last meeting. We're all set with that for 2024.
I move we accept the town clerk's report.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Motion carried. Code enforcement.
Just to do the numbers, we took in $1,978 in April. Valuation is $694,123, approximately, added to the assessment rolls. That's all I have. We're really making huge strides in cleaning up and closing out files. We're getting there. Biting off little bits every week. Stack in the office is going down, and the stack in there is going up. That's what I have.
Make a motion we accept the code enforcement building inspector report.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Vicky, where did this report come from? Tim?
Kathy's tracking stuff. A lot of it's old.
Excuse me?
A lot of it's old,
Yep.
older stuff. We're not deleting anything from the sheet. It's just stuff that's been resolved and not resolved.
The ones with no notes on it, those are not resolved? Or it's just random? I'll ask.
We haven't taken action yet.
Okay. Because on page 2, I see it says, first notice, cleaning up the property. That structurally unsound or unsafe structure. So that's 10 months ago. How are we following through with that?
Some of the stuff has been resolved through phone calls and people, some of it's not resolved and it's ready for the next step. I think we're gonna discuss some of that later on tonight.
Okay.
I believe.
Okay. Want me to read the assessor's thing, or you gonna?
You can read it.
Assessor report for the month of April, we received a total of 7 transfers, 2 residential, 3 for estate planning, and 2 vacant. The 2024 tentative roll was filed with the town clerk on April 30th, 2024, and a link was posted on the town's website. We received 18 applicants that were qualified for the fireman's exemption. The impacts on the town tax was minimal and would raise the town tax rate without special district 1 cent per thousand of assessment. This was calculated using the 2024 levies. There were quite a few new construction building permits this year as of March 1st, which will help the tax base. We sent out 74 change in assessment notices this year. Grievance day will be held on Tuesday, May 28th, 2024 from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. on the town hall, at town hall. There's truly Peter Orton, assessor. I'll move we accept the assessor's report.
A second.
All in favor? Aye. Water sewer.
Good evening, all. Hydrant replacement project, we didn't quite make the April plan to get work started, but we did get Andre Nadeau into town to look at the work that we're asking him to do. There's a good amount of money in the hydrant budget, so it's just a question of him procuring hydrants and scheduling the work to get it done. We've got 3, maybe 4 hydrants that we want to get replaced. John, I'm glad you brought up the high hazard mitigation plan meeting that we had last week with the county, although I wanted to point out that there's still some follow-up required, I think mostly from the town. They sent a document, I think on the 2nd. I forwarded that to you, Vicki, today. I don't know if you saw it. Number of items that are highlighted that need follow-up, like Brian, you're being asked to follow up on some things having to do with fire departments, emergency plans, things of that nature that are already in place. I don't know if there was anything left on the highway, Jason, was there? I don't think so.
No, I think we completed.
Oh, there might have been something for the code enforcement officer, I think.
It was good.
So I don't know if it's what kind of a deadline this is. They didn't even call it a deadline, but they were hoping to get responses back by the 17th. Next week.
I'll take care of it tomorrow. I just got it today on my way home, and when I saw that she had sent it. So
Okay, great.
I'll take a look at it. I'll fill out what I need to fill out. If I need to track anybody else down on the town's map, I'll get it done. They want to have this finalized into the state by the end of the summer, so I mean,
I'm sure there's leeway on that,
yeah, but I'll get it done.
but they don't want it to sit out there. too
No,
long.
understood.
Yeah.
I'll get it done. So
Okay, that'd be great.
I'll
Thank you.
take care of it tomorrow.
All right, the water treatment plant and district improvement project. The income survey is in progress that I mentioned. 2 things that are really important about this is that we get enough citizens in the water district to respond. We have to get some percentage of, I believe it's like, when you start eliminating the library, the churches, vacant homes, that reduces the number of people that you can actually ask for an income survey. And so the percentage of people that you have to have respond goes up. So I think we've gone from like 85% to meeting 90% response rate. So we've done a really good job at communicating with the district to let everyone know that we really need their help getting the income surveys in. And then, of course, the other target is coming up with the median household income. So there are highs and lows, and somewhere right in the middle is the median household income. And so that's a cap that we want to hit somewhere below $60,000. So we'll see what the final results are pretty soon. I think it should be done in another week or so. CT Mal is working hard at getting their engineering report completed. they expect to give us a draft of the preliminary engineer report. It's actually, a formal name for the report by the 15th. That's actually next Tuesday. We're gonna review it, and then share it with the water district stakeholders. Everyone needs to see it. Town board will see it, everyone in the district needs to see it. And the reason we want them to see it in advance, or right away, is because we have settled on that date for a presentation in Conkling Hall on Wednesday, the 22nd. I know that some of you have made a commitment that you'll be there, so
I will be there.
that would be great. I think, Randy, you mentioned you would be there too, that would be terrific.
That's it.
While we're on that subject, I think we all received an email inviting us to go to that meeting to hear the results.
Only two of us could go.
Otherwise, you have to, it's a public hearing.
But we're not voting on it.
Can't they go as
So there's no
citizens?
floor.
No,
We can't even hang out at a baseball game together.
seriously?
I was told you could as long as you're not discussing town business.
Well,
If you're not discussing town business, you're there as a citizen.
no. When you're all there, it's considered a meeting.
Or more than two. More than
So the
two.
quorum,
The quorum's three.
Okay. I didn't really want to go anyway.
You wanted to go, I know you did.
But that meeting on the 22nd, that's going to be live streamed.
Yes, so first of all, it starts at 6. We are gonna set up a Zoom meeting that we can make it available to those who can't attend, so there'll be an option for you to view the meeting from afar.
But everything he has to say is gonna be in print somewhere for me to read later?
Well, the report itself is gonna be like 25, 30 pages. That you can get electronically in email. We prefer not to print that out most of the time.
Oh, that's fine.
But we can certainly print it for you,
Okay. then
or
that's-
for the board.
I don't need to see
The
it.
presentation is not gonna be a page-for-page review of the report as much as maybe, an overview. What's most important out of it is the Q&A session with the community, so that people get a chance to vote, not vote, but
Ask questions.
ask questions, voice their opinions, et cetera, that kind of thing. Really like to see you there, Pete.
No, I can't go.
All right, so, again, the 2 Wednesdays from now, the 22nd at 6 PM at Conkling Hall. One of the requirements to getting their PER done is there is a report that they have to fill out. It's a state-required report called the Capacity Development Program. They sent it into the town, to the town clerk, and deputy town clerk took care of that swiftly and turned it around in less than 24 hours, so that's not holding up any progress at all, so thank you for that. And so basically, we're on target to meet the deadline, which I don't expect will be waiting till the last day, but the June 14th deadline to submit the project to the New York State EFC Drinking Water Intended Use Plan. So we're in good shape in that regard. I just want to point out, this is the very first step in seeking funding. We still got a long way to go. So although I'll be glad when June 14th comes and goes, because this has been a real tough 6 months, there's still work to be done after this. And that being said, talking about C2 now and whatnot, it'd probably be a good time for us to go ahead and get that bond set up so that we can have the funds to pay for their invoices out of the bond. So if I can just remind you that we're ready to, they've submitted invoices already, and of course, their final invoices will be coming sometime in June, so. Question, thoughts?
we should probably speak about that, about how we're gonna do it,
Okay,
but not here.
okay. Well, mine was just a note. It wasn't a question or asking for a vote or anything like that. Just wanted to bring it up that those invoices are coming due. Maybe some of what I want to say right now could be left for public comments, but it's based on the next thing that I wanted to bring up. I wanted to just go back to this sustainable growth grant scheme. Grant writers cannot take a commission or a percentage of a grant. It's
True.
actually illegal to do that, especially when you're dealing with government grants. And maybe just to make or support my point in terms of needing to pay people to do it unless we have the capacity to do it here in the town office ourselves, is Jason just announced that he received, or he got the town a grant for highway funds, right? He must have applied for the grant, right? And he gets a wage. So he did, on company time, take the time he had to take to complete a grant and submit it. So there's a cost associated with applying for grants, and it's not something that you can pay for in any other way except whatever rate that they choose to charge. So that being said, Sustainable Growth's contract, our current contract, with the water district and the sewer district, or with the town, I guess, working for the water district is coming to an end. There's maybe just a few hours left. And so we were entertaining a quote to set up a new contract. We haven't actually talked about it just yet, but it'll be something that I'll come back and present to you at another meeting coming up. So,
When's the contract up?
well, it's not that there's a date on it, but we've used up the hours. So it's not, it doesn't have an expiration on it, it's a set number, it's a fixed fee number of hours, yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, no, I remember it was.
I think my concern, and if that obviously is correct, because you guys said it, and know a little bit more about it probably than I do, but like, it's fine if that's what we have to do, and I agree that sometimes you have to pay people for services, but we have to keep in mind two things. A, it's money spent that we're not guaranteed any return on whatsoever.
Right.
And it's not budget. Like, and I know that that's a difficult thing to budget for, because sometimes, like Rebecca pointed out, a grant comes up on March 3rd that needs to be done by March 24th. But sometimes, although I feel like we're pretty prudent on how we save money around here, I also feel like we kind of just on a whim be like, oh, we're going to do it. So, I know that you guys don't have tons of money laying around. So when we do it, I just hope that we're looking at what the risk versus benefit, I don't want to say risk versus benefit, because there probably isn't much risk, but what are we getting for our dollar, and what's the probability of the grant, like if we're going to spend $1,200 to apply for a grant, what's the probability we're going to get it? And if we get it, what's it going to do for the town? So I think those are the questions that we need to be able to explain to the public when we do it. And for you, just the water district, you don't owe anybody else in the town any explanation. But for your water district folks, that,
Certainly.
when you want to go ahead with more money, $3,600 for more work, I'm not going to say no as long as you have money to pay it, because we have to be trustees of the account. So, that's just my opinion. I think sometimes we're like, oh, it's just $1,200, but if we keep doing grants, the next thing you know, we're $14,000 into the coffers for grants, and we don't have $1 that we won. Like, how does that help us? So I think that's what we need to research when we look at it. What is the probability of even getting this grant? And is is it something that maybe points, so if you don't get it this year, you add points, so maybe you get it next year? So it's just a small investment, but
I also think that if we do, or when we do hire a consultant for a grant, that we should receive a report about, you know, what grant was applied for and the amounts and the result and an in-depth analysis of the procedure.
Yeah, sure. That would certainly be something we could take up with them. But I can only speak from my experience with them in the water and sewer district. They do so much more than just the grant aspect of it, because there's so much supporting work around it. I
they're
mean,
doing administrative work, it has nothing to do with the grants, what they're
Right.
doing, and I completely understand that.
And we as a volunteer committee don't have the capacity or the time or the
100%.
capability, so.
Right.
The fact that they're there and doing what they're doing to support us through this period of time. is-
Yep. We just gotta be able
What's,
to pay
what's
them,
that
right?
commercial? You know, the cost of this, the cost of that, and then the cost of something else.
Yeah.
I don't know the commercial.
Oh, gosh.
Priceless.
Priceless, yeah, their involvement is priceless.
Yeah.
There's no way far and
Wow.
above of what we're paying them for the work they're doing for the water and sewer. Doesn't even match the amount of effort they're giving us.
You know, even putting all, we have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on studies. And every time, you know, there's a change or whatever, another study's done. So just them being able to put that in order and knowing what studies have been done and helping us, like CT Mail, they weren't the least expensive, but they were the most knowledgeable. And hopefully they're using that knowledge to help us. You know, I'm not going there, but,
Right.
you know, putting that stuff in order is really important.
Right.
Vicky, what other grant did we talk about for the office?
There was a records management grant, but and that Mary and Darren were working on with us, but we didn't make the deadlines for it, for this year, so they're gonna look at it for next year.
Okay, any
And
questions?
when is CT Mail, after you get the report, are they gonna apply for any grants on our behalf?
They're in fact making this application to the direct EFC drinking water intended use plan. So it's important to understand what that is. It is not a grant itself, but it's the system that any municipality that wants to apply for grant funding or any other kind of funding, whether it's low interest loans or forgivable loans, you have to be in the IUP. It's sort of like a queue. And it's the way that they determine how much to budget for projects that they're gonna give money to. They look, let's say they get 1,000 applications in the IUP, they can't possibly pay for them all or grant them all funds. So they're gonna pick the ones that look like, you know, either because they have issues with their water or they're the best bang for their buck, that sort of thing, and make a determination on which projects they will actually elect to pay for in the coming year. So that's only, as I said before, this is only the first step. That's truly what it is. And so they have the knowledge on how to make this first step into the IUP. So, you know, if for some reason we don't get anything out of this, we're still going to be in a better place because we're in the IUP system, which we've never done before. Well, these reports that you talked about years gone by never got this far. So it'll still be a big thing for us, but I'm hopeful that it'll be more than just getting in line.
We'll talk about the bonding after we see the number from CT Mail.
Okay. Well, it won't change any from the original proposal.
$66,100.
No, the cost.
Oh,
of the work.
okay,
Oh,
No,
okay, gotcha. All right, any other questions?
No.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I make a motion to accept the water sewer. All in favor? Aye. Motion carried, okay. Current events you'll see on our website. Pete wants me to read them word for word, but I don't want to. I think the most important thing on here is Senior Lunch and Learn Service Series hosted by the town of West Shore and Hilltown Community Resource Center, May 16th, and also at 11:30. And Albany County Veterans Services Bureau and Albany Stratton VA will be at the West Shore Town Hall between 9 and 11:30 on May 15th to assist any veteran or family member who has questions. So I want to mention that. Okay, moving on to old business. I'm gonna open the paving bids. There are 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. The first one is from Linda Holding Corp., DBA Maggio and Sons. Received May 6th. They broke it down to, well, the non-conclusive bidding certificate is here. They broke it down as per the contract, 3 employee parking, rear drive, and main parking lot. Totals $103,700. $103,700. The next one is from Cobble Skill Stone Products. Non-conclusive bidding certificate is in here. And their total, I'm just reading the totals, I'm not reading the specs, because that should be, but their total is $97,434. The next one is from Callahan. Non-conclusive bidding certificate is attached. And I don't even know what this means. Jason?
Price per ton, is that how they put it?
Right, okay, so it's not.
So I have the estimated number of tons. I'll put it together on Monday and send that over to you in that format. That's the format I asked for, and actually it was price per ton in place, yeah. So I gave the square footage and estimated tonnage, so I can translate that to a number. Send it to you.
The last one's from Peckham Road. $97,000, well, non-conclusive bidding certificate is attached. Total bid price $97,745.
Can I just speak to that if you guys don't mind? I think that number all came in a lot higher than anybody's comfortable with. So I'd like to meet with Randy and talk about some options about maybe doing part of it this year, part of it next year, and come up with some proposals for you for the next meeting. If everyone's all right with that.
And, of course, looking at the budget, we have appropriation for a garage renovation. This year's budget of $150,000. We've so far spent $12,000 plus. Is that revenue we could potentially use for parking?
We were going to use that money for some garage doors and seal.
Yeah.
That's what we were going to use it for. So I don't see why we can't use.
Can I just say that I won't be here next meeting, and I'm not opposed of going along with the group by doing what we think is best. I just think that we need to, we keep talking about doing all these things, but we don't really have like this capital improvement plan. We talk about ceiling, we talk about garage doors, now we're talking about paving. Like, I don't think we can do all of them. Like, I feel like if, I don't know how long this bid is good for, but perhaps we need to just take a breath and come up with a 1-year plan, a 5-year plan, a 10-year plan. So that A, we can budget for it, B, we can, and I realize a lot of times I'll be like, we have money, and I look at you and you're like, yes, and I know, I trust you. And I look at Brian, he said yes, but I also feel like what's prudent is to have a plan, like, until Jason brought it up, we hadn't even discussed paving the driveway, right? And now all of a sudden, we have $100,000 bid in front of us to fix the driveway. But we have talked about replacing the ceiling. We haven't done anything with that yet. We have talked about changing the lighting in there, which we did. We talked about replacing garage doors. We haven't done that yet. And so I feel like we should have a plan. The plan we should stick to, when we say, well, this is our biggest priority, that needs to be checked off before we go to our second priority. Unless there's some big, ceiling is our priority. Jason comes and says, ABC garage door has a super deal right now. If we buy 3 garage doors, if we don't move, we can do it. Then that's a different. But I feel like we gotta have a priority list on capital improvements around here, because we do need to invest in our campus and make it better for years to come. But I think that we need to kind of take a look at what we think. I mean, Randy's the liaison now for buildings, and certainly no more capable people here than Jason and Randy. Maybe we need to just let's get a report on what we think is important and then kind of pursue that.
I'm not sure how it works, but somebody told me that that's eligible for CHIP funds.
I'm not sure of that per se, but my hesitancy on that is that, if we take any money from the CHIPS program, we fall behind on our road program, that's my hesitancy on that.
Okay, I'm not sure exactly how that works, so.
I can't confirm. Are you aware, Randy, if CHIPS funding is eligible for a parking lot?
I don't.
I'd have to talk to the CHIPS representative. I'm not sure.
It's a general fund expense, so I don't think you can use CHIPS funds.
Right, and it's not like it's listed on our road sheet, so I don't believe it would be eligible, but I would have to confirm that. With, I can reach out to.
Doesn't need to be discussed right now. That, you're gonna talk about this in 2 weeks when you put these numbers down and talk about, I just want to bring up, from my point of view, I think that was my opinion.
See, Paul, I want to bring this up. There's certain things that came up. Look at the highway equipment that we got, in a short period of time.
Yeah, but we should, yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, I just agreeing with Brian that a plan is a good thing.
Right, but sometimes, right, a general plan, but sometimes it's just, like the salt shed. We didn't have the ability to do that, so we used, ARPA.
Okay, yeah, no, I agree. So, like,
Yeah.
I'm just.
But if we put it 5-year, like
Yeah.
you said, then we can budget for it,
Or priorities, you know what I mean? Like,
prioritize it, budget for it.
we're not big enough that we can pave the driveway, put a new ceiling in, all new doors, and not, maybe it is something that you bond and pay for over a period of time. I don't know what the answer is. I just think that we need to take a breath and a step and say, this is our biggest priority. This is our next biggest priority. This is maybe our top 5 priorities, and then see where they fit in the budgets.
So that's a good point. It's a plan.
Bring them back.
So,
into-
Randy,
I think that's what we would and should do at a budget hearings in the fall.
Yeah.
Would be the time to do
Okay.
So Randy, you and I can get together next week at some point and
that. Yes.
go over this, and we'll report back then.
Thank you.
Okay. Under new business, which is just allowing the,
So my other question on this,
Sure.
Do we have to have board approval to do this every time? Can we give them like a blanket proposal? Like, they come all the time and need permission to hand out copies at the transfer station. Can we just say they can do it whenever, or is that not good?
It's better to do it on the
Got that.
I can't believe it
I'll-
needs board approval.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion that the American Legion be able to distribute copies. I think it's Memorial Day weekend.
They have certain dates here.
Yeah.
May 22, May 25, and July.
Yes, so that, right around the holidays.
I'll second it.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Okay, any other audience comments, please?
Yep. Sorry. So last night I come over here and I sat in the zoning board, had interviews. I don't want to say I was attacked, because that's a bad word, but a concern was brought to me, a pretty good concern was brought to me, like, why are we doing this? Because the town just puts in whoever they want anyways. And I'm like, I gotta figure out about that. So, in fairness and in support of the board, the last three people that have gone on to the zoning board of appeals have been one person that said they were interested, so we just put it on there, right? And this time they had 4 candidates, 1 backed out because of a conflict of interest, so there was 3, 2 of them were remarkable, and they're mulling over that to have a proposal at the next meeting. But they brought this up, like, why are you asking us now? Because the last one that went on was Rich Tolner, and they didn't even know he was on it till they had a meeting, and he showed up at the meeting. So I told them that I would bring it up to the board, that feel it is in our best interest to not micromanage anybody, that if we have anybody that goes on to the planning board, which we have done in the past, or the zoning board, we would give that to them for their approval prior to coming to the board, and that they would give their approval to the board. That hasn't been done in the past. So you guys can do what you want. I told them I wouldn't approve anybody. I wouldn't vote for anybody that didn't come as a recommendation from the zoning board. You guys all can do what you want with that. I just wanted to let you know that's what I told them. I was unclear that one. We did look it up afterward. It was brought up at the second meeting in December of 22 to be put out for advertisement. We don't really know, probably the paper, because we don't keep track of what we put on the sign, but definitely if we advertised, it would have been the paper and the Facebook. Can't go back that far to confirm it. And he was appointed the second meeting in January. So I'm assuming prior to that, following that advertisement, he submitted interest. And he probably just went, well, it's Rich Tolner, he was an assessor, he probably has a lot of qualifications that would be suitable for the zoning board, and we put him on. Then he shows up at a meeting, and the zoning board people come in and they're like, hey, Rich, how are you? Why are you here? You know, he's like, oh, I'm on the meeting. But in fairness, that's how I got on it. They were like, just show up, there's a meeting. And that's how Bobby Tanner did it. And so I just told them that if we did it with the planning board, I would urge the town that in the future, we would make sure any candidates are sent to the chairman of the zoning board, and that they could make the recommendation back. Because their concern would be that we could just arbitrarily put somebody on there that might not even fit the zoning board thing. So they'd like to be able to just vet that a little. So
I thought that's the way we were doing it.
it didn't happen. They didn't even know that Rich Tolman was
We
on.
got that, because like the planning.
The planning board did it. So I said we would mirror what we have done with the planning board in the past.
Right.
So,
But I can't even recall.
well, either could I, so don't feel bad. I didn't even know. And we voted for it because we looked up the minutes. That's why I say sometimes it's hard, because, and especially this case, he's the only one that was interested in it. He really is qualified for it, as they admitted too, but we really should say, hey, Bob Tanner, this is the guy, the only one we want to put him in. Oh, sure, no problem.
I always believe that the zoning board makes the recommendations to the town board.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't believe
Yeah.
we would pick someone without them recommending it.
Like we do with the planning board.
But we did.
I'm sorry, that's what I meant, the planning board.
Right.
Yeah.
The planning board,
Well, the planning board don't pick the zoning board people.
no,
Yeah.
I'm saying,
No,
the
the
planning,
planning
Yeah.
board gave us their recommendations. and we voted on
In history, there have been multiple people sometimes to be on planning board vacancies where it would force them to do some sort of interview. Where typically, history shows that we have to go out and beg people to be part of the zoning board of appeals. And in the last 4 appointments have only been one person interested, so they just kind of went on. So I think in the future, we should just do our best to make sure that we reach out, either you or Vicky or even me, because I'm the liaison to that board, and say, hey, we have only one candidate, we need to have it filled. And if we can't, then we'll disqualify.
I agree that's the way it should be.
Okay, I just want to make sure that,
I
it's just-
definitely.
I think it's just because of a lack of interest, we had to really strong arm a few people to get them on to that board. So,
I mean, it's any board, even the
Yeah.
water sewer,
anyway, yeah,
they come.
Yeah.
With a recommendation from the committee.
so anyways, and I'll give feedback to those guys, because we stayed after last night to make sure that we could track that down.
Any other audience comments? If not, I have to make a motion to go into executive session to discuss possible litigation.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Right.
Aye.